reporting from the most strategic area in the world, the Arctic. When there's fighting in Suez, tension over Hungary, trouble anyplace, then this area becomes vital to our defense. That's why 20,000 American troops are located in Greenland, Labrador, and Newfoundland, on the alert to protect us. That's also why I brought a patriotic group of entertainers up to the Arctic in order to bring some Christmas cheer to the men guarding this vital area. We wanted to let them know they were not forgotten. It's cold up here, 17 degrees below zero. And if I didn't have these heavy Air Force gloves on, my fingers would probably stick to the microphone. It was colder, however, when we were in Labrador, about 20 degrees below zero. We visited Labrador, Newfoundland, and Sundström in southern Greenland, commanded by Colonel William Jowdy. Here, 1,000 American GIs hadn't seen entertainment since September, and the colonel asked us to do 2 shows. We were delighted to do so. Then we came on up to the tip of northern Greenland, near the North Pole. It takes about 2 days to fly up here from New York, 2 days flying over snow and ice. No place to land in case an engine conks out. But it doesn't make much difference to land anyway unless you're at a regular base, because man can't last more than a few hours in this sub-zero weather. The first thing that impresses you up here in Greenland is the darkness. The sun just doesn't shine. The men up here haven't seen the sun since November and won't see it until the end of February. It's dark every minute. Just a little twilight in the middle of the day. The lights have to be on 24 hours. Though in the twilight you can see the barracks made of aluminum and the big hangars that hold some of the most important bombing planes of the American Air Force. But to tell you about the problems of living up here in the Arctic and how our men are getting along, I want to interview the man who knows more about them than anyone else. And in just a minute, we'll meet Colonel Frank Ellis, the commander at Thule, Greenland.
Colonel Ellis, it's very nice to be back in your Arctic winter resort.
It's very nice to have you here, sir.
We missed you last year. You've been here some time?
About 10 months. I came up the 1st of March.
And your home?
In Kentucky, near Covington.
You haven't been back since then, I understand.
No, just before I left.
Now tell me, has this base become more important or less important?
I would say because of the world situation, more important.
Well, I can understand that. I won't ask you about the different missions you've been on up here, but I understand there have been some.
Quite a few. They're routine.
Well, now, one complaint I've got, you know, I'm supposed to make complaints. It's nice and cold outside, 15 degrees right now, under. Is that right?
15 below this morning, I believe.
But when we come in the house and the barracks and the officers' mess and so on, it's so darn hot.
We have a pretty efficient heating system, which is powered by some of our 32 main diesel generators. That's the lifeline of the base.
32 diesel
That's right.
generators?
Mm-hmm.
All going at once?
Well, almost all of them. We have 4 or 5 that are waiting parts to be shipped in from the States. That goes on the year round. And we always have one torn down for maintenance. That gives us about 26 out of 32. That's a very good in-commission rate.
And I suppose if anything happened to them, you'd really be out of luck.
Be completely out of business.
Well, now, what do you do for your water up here? Do you melt ice?
No, we pump it in from Crescent Lake, which is about 8 miles out toward the ice cap, 189,000 gallons a day to a central point, and then haul it by trucks.
Now, how do you keep the pipes from freezing?
It's electrically heated.
And your sewage?
That is picked up from the various buildings and hauled down to the pier and pumped out in North Star Bay.
In other words, you have to spend a good part of your time just watching the utilities of this area.
You're a director of public utilities in addition to being a base commander.
You have to watch your electricity, your water, your sewage. What do you do for different types of food?
We make that ourselves, except what's shipped in by airlift and in the summertime. Everything you'd normally call on the local community for, we make ourselves here.
You have to be absolutely self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient, that's right.
You bake your own bread?
Yes.
Well,
make our own milk.
You make
and
your
ice
milk.
cream. That's right.
How do you make your milk?
Gee, I don't know. It's about the same difference in butter and margarine. It's a vegetable addition, but it tastes just the same as real milk.
You know, back in Maryland, I'm a dairyman, and
I knew you were.
I had some of your milk this morning. I thought it was fresh milk.
Oh, fine.
You fooled me. Well, tell me your biggest problem, I suppose, physically. What is it? Your chief danger?
Fire. A fire would be disastrous in the Arctic, especially if it burned down any of your power plants or any percentage of them.
Well, why is that?
Well, you'd be at the mercy of the elements, and you just can't exist up here without shelter and heat.
Well, I mean, to fight a fire, don't you have enough water? Or?
We have to haul our water. Everything that we would use to fight it, all the water has to be hauled by truck.
Well, now, I've noticed the buildings up here, they're all made of aluminum and all off the ground on stilts. Would you explain why that is?
Well, they're built like refrigerators, except the principle is different. It's to keep the cold out rather than in. And they're set up on stilts to keep the heat of the building in the wintertime from melting the permafrost, which would allow the building to settle and damage it. Those stilts are sunk down about 5 feet, which is 2 feet below the thawing level of the permafrost in the summertime.
In other words, if the bottom of the building is too warm, it melts the earth and it would just sink in a sea of mud.
Yes, sir, that's right,
More
essentially.
I see. Now, how deep is the ground frozen up here?
I don't know. There seems to be a difference of opinion. I guess 90 feet is a pretty good average.
90 feet?
Yes, sir.
And in the middle of the polar cap?
Well, the ice gets anywhere from 8,000 to 9,000 to 10,000 feet thick. In one place that I know of, it's been measured to 11,000, which would indicate at that particular point the surface of the ground is below the level of the sea, under the ice.
11,000 feet of ice straight up and down.
That's right.
Now, these handles on the doors of your barracks, sort of like refrigerators. Why is that?
Well, they have plastic on them so that in the wintertime your hands won't freeze to them.
I see. And this adhesive tape I see on the men's parkas outside, what's that for?
It's reflective. As you know, it's dark 24 hours a day right now, and we have a lot of vehicles moving around. It's so that you can see them and not lessen the danger of running over somebody.
I see. No, in other words, the black parkas don't show up very well at night, and you have these stripes on their parkas.
Yes, sir, that's right.
Now, we are about how far from the North Pole?
About 790 miles.
Have you been over the North Pole?
Yes, sir.
About how lately?
6 weeks ago, I think.
Now, what do you do when you go over the North Pole? Do you salute it or something?
Not much of anything. There's nothing down there but ice and water. You can't see much water. It's frozen nearly all the time. Most people throw out a bottle with a little message on it. It must look like a dump down there after all these years.
So many people.
And of course, it shatters when it hits the ice, and that's the end of it.
A lot of broken bottles and ice.
Yeah, that's right.
Is it frozen there all the time?
Well, I think so. There are leads in it, of course. A lead is a crack in the ice where you can see the water.
Now, how far is it between Washington, D.C. and Thule and Moscow and Thule?
Just the same. They're equidistant. We're located here. Moscow up in this position, 2,400 nautical miles away, and Washington is down about here, also 2,400 miles.
In other words, you feel just about as much home in Moscow and Washington?
Not as much at home, but just as close.
I see. Well, now, Colonel, if you don't mind, I'd like to talk to some of the GIs and the younger officers.
All right, sir, that's fine. Let's go.
Well, it's very swell having this visit with you, and I'd like to ask you one last question. If you don't mind, give me your names and where you come from, and then I'd like to ask, what would you like most for Christmas for the Arctic? Let's begin here.
I'm Airman Second Class Ronald Curl from the Lower Rio Grande Valley of Texas. I believe I'd like most for Christmas in the Arctic a box of grapefruit and oranges from the Lower Rio Grande Valley.
I'm Tech Sergeant Joseph Walker from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I believe I'd like to spend a few moments home with my family in good old Philly.
I'm Sergeant Matthew J. Little, Jr. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and this question here is a real stumper for me, Mr. Pearson. I really can't say.
My name is Airman Robert Murphy from Buffalo, New York, and I go around with the rest of the men here, and I'll say that the best thing is to be home for Christmas.
I'm Tech Sergeant James Kerndl from Los Angeles, California. There's no doubt about it, we'd all like to be with our loved ones at this time of the year. But this is the dark season at Thule, and I think a large ray of California sunshine would be appreciated also.
I'm Airman First Class Roger Hermanson from Jamestown, New York. And I think the thing I would like most is some good Christmas food from Jamestown, New York.
I'm Lieutenant Mary Hilton from Washington, D.C. And I think maybe I'd like to do 2 hours of Christmas shopping.
I'm Airman Second Class Jerry Gambardella from the Bronx, New York. I would like to go along with everyone's wishes for Christmas at home, but my biggest wish is for peace throughout the world.
Well, I certainly hope that wish comes true. We'll have a final message in just a minute. Well, you want to say hello to the folks back home?
Merry Christmas, everybody.
And next week, we'll give you a New Year's report from the Arctic.